Shalom everyone. We're going to start with our big toes together, heels 2 to 3 inches apart, your thumbs under rib cage and your pinky under pelvis. You're going to decompress and then hinge. We will do 10 breaths in each of these positions. They're just going to have some different motions. Like in this position, you're going to pull your thumbs down on your inhale, palms up into a platter position on the exhale. And then the final position we'll do will be the sphere of tension, fingertips pressing into each other. Inhale, overhead. Exhale, driving out. We're also going to do a rotation move later on, but we'll walk you through that. So why don't you go into a hip hinge. We're going to have measuring stick hands. Get deep, chest broad. You should feel tension in your back. Doing 10 breaths here. And then we'll transition into the next position. So Dalet is the fourth letter in the Hebrew alphabet. It means doorway or pathway, and it indicates a hanging tent door. So the bent shape of Dalet represents a needy or poor person. So Dalet comes from the Hebrew word dalah, which means to draw out or impoverish. So after you've done 10 breaths, what we're going to do next is we're going to open up our arms, palms forward, and then we're just going to bring them together, palms upwards, trying to keep as much length in your spine as you can. So inhale. Turn the palms down, exhale, up, and that's 1. We're going to repeat that for 10 times. Take it slow, keep that motion in your shoulders, keep the hip hinge, try to not have too much bend in your back while you're doing this. Keep your body very straight. The Dalet is waiting for the Gimel, a picture of the Good Samaritan. Gimel can mean lift up, which was the third letter we went over last time. Gimulit Hasadim is bestowing kindness and grace. So we see this with the picture of the Good Samaritan. Everyone would assume that the Levite or the priest would be more righteous than the Samaritan, who would not even worship at Jerusalem. Go ahead and bring yourself up out of that, back into the decompression stance with the hip hinge for another 10 breaths. By now you should be feeling some aches, a little bit lower than your shoulder blades. That's normal. You don't want any pain in your lower back. It should be just an uncomfortable tension. It shouldn't be sharp. So Gimel, who is a picture of the Good Samaritan, was helping Dalet, who was the man in need. So during this story, it's a picture of the pilgrim feast. The Levite and the priest were both traveling to Jerusalem to probably celebrate one of the pilgrim feasts. They didn't want to get close to somebody they thought might be dead. So now we're going to open the arms again, and we're going to kind of spiral off to the right side. And then we're going to repeat this the next time off to the left, but for the next 10 repetitions, stay a little bit off to the right. This is just going to challenge the spine and your hips to work a little bit differently. But in a way, they were breaking Torah by trying to stay within the fences that they had built, because love is the greatest commandment. Helping Dalet, those who are bent over and impoverished and needy, that was most important. Even though the Samaritan himself would not travel to Jerusalem to celebrate these feast days that were commanded, or would not even believe in the Hebrew Tanakh or the Torah or the prophets, but it's showing that his acts of kindness and love are actually righteous, and were more righteous than the Levite and the priest that passed by. Okay, go ahead and return to the decompression stance. Do another 10 breaths there, and then next time you're going to switch, go angle off to the left. So just decompress, do a little bit of a torsion action off to the left, just to counterbalance what we just did off to the right. Still maintaining the turn in and out of the hands, going from a platter position to turning down. That actually creates a triangle between your thumb and your pointer finger, which is the pictograph form of Dalet. Dalet represents lowliness and the consciousness of possessing nothing on one's own. Just as we are called to be set apart, slaves to Yahweh, we are to stay humble and cling to God. Yehuda, which contains all the letters of the Tetragrammaton, but includes the Dalet between the Vav and the He, This indicates that Yeshua, who came from Judah, was the doorway leading to Yahweh. Yeshua is our Melchizedek king priest, who can go before the Father into the Holy of Holies to intercede for us on our behalf. And it's important to approach Yeshua with humility, just like Dalet indicates. When King David was impoverished and going through trials, he approached God with humbleness. The ego, which is the tag on the top of the Hebrew letter Dalet, can give us the idea of that we need to be careful about not approaching our prayer like the Pharisees and the Sadducees would, often, by the street or in the public eye, making these prayers, trying to make themselves appear more righteous. However, when Yeshua was having his ministry, he went to those who are humble, like the Samaritan woman by the well, those he could actually speak with. The Pharisees had already made up that they were right in their mind, and they wouldn't even recognize the Messiah when he was standing right in front of them. They were too offended. The ego, this tiny bit of ego that comes with the letter Dalet. Okay, so we're going to open up the arms, the last stance here, go into the sphere of tension overhead, fingertips pressing into one another. So you're going to inhale, bring the hands up over top of your head. Exhale, drive, straighten those elbows out. This looks easy, but this should be one of the toughest positions. It should be hard to hold your balance here. 10 repetitions. Dalet is a good picture that even in humility, there's that ego that reminds us that we need to be careful about it and continue to approach God and not work our way into a relationship with Him. It's work, of course, but obedience is most important and humility is most important. We'll end with a little passage of scripture here that really gives us a good idea of what Dalet means to us in relation with Yeshua being the door. Revelation 3:20. Here I am standing at the door, knocking. If someone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come to him and eat with him, and he will eat with me. So remember that even during your lowly state, turn to Yeshua. Shalom.